New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
Good afternoon and welcome to Finding the Joy in the Journey. I'm Gina, Rev Gina, and I'm blessed to be the host here. I am also on the prayer team on this wonderful network and blessed to be the director of CSL Greater Boston. This is a time where we come together once a week to find the joy in the journey. See, it's not about that destination. It is not about well, when I have this, then I'll be happy. When I've achieved those goals, when I've lost weight, when I've met the right person, when I've achieved the things that I want, then I'll be happy. See, it's about being happy now. And how do we do that? Because it sounds great. It sounds great to, we'll find more joy. But if you knew how, wouldn't you be doing it? So every week we have different guests that bring us more suggestions, more ways that they bring joy to the journey. And most of them are helping other people do the same. And today we have a wonderful guest that does just that. I want to start by saying Happy New Year. Here we are, and it's my first opportunity to say to you, Happy New Year. I'm so grateful that we are in this place together of knowing that we get to choose to embark on life in a new way, in a fun and joyous way. So I am grateful that you're here with us. I hope you are ready to have some fun and be in that place of joy. Because the next person that I'm bringing out, boy, she is definitely someone, she considers herself a midlife troublemaker. And I love that. Elaine Blais is a personal coach, and she's a midlife troublemaker, also known as a difficult woman, an author, spiritual practitioner with a passion for helping midlife women live into their dreams. She lives, practices, and teaches the art of self-approval. Using her life experience as the catalyst, she uses a powerful combination of spiritual principles and practical tools to create a way paved with self-approval and love for women ready to step into true authenticity and express themselves boldly as they choose. You can learn more about her on ElaineBlais.com, and I will repeat that, not to worry. And you can find Elaine on Instagram at Elaine Blais Coaching, and on Facebook in her A Difficult Woman Collective. She has an upcoming class that we're going to talk all about, and I am so grateful to bring on this woman who is here to help, especially women, step into their complete and unapologetic selves, to self approval, and create more of what they want in their life. So, this wonderful coach I'm bringing in is Elaine Blais, and welcome. Welcome again. Welcome back to Finding the Joy in the Journey. How
Thanks,
are you?
Gina. I am well. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everybody listening. And yeah, talk about the joy in the journey. I've had an interesting few weeks to start off this year, so we'll get into that a little bit.
You have. And if you can, how did you? I'd love to start out with, if you can share with us, how did you get here? How did you become a coach? What was it in you that said, okay, I have this is what I've decided I want? Because you changed, didn't you change careers?
Yes, I did. I had a corporate career for about 25 years, a number of different things, but mostly around customer service and leading teams. And I loved the leadership piece of it. I love coaching and mentoring people. I outgrew the corporate world. I had evolved to a place where our values just didn't match up anymore. Nothing against anyone or anything in corporate. It just simply was no longer for me. And so I really had wanted to do coaching. I had wanted to become a coach for quite a while. And I left that corporate job in 2015. It took about 6 months to, I would say, sort of uncouple myself from the way I had been living.
Were you scared?
I tell you, for the first 3 weeks, I would get up in the morning thinking I should be doing something, right?
Were you scared?
I was terrified. And at the same time, I was excited. So I think that's a really fine point to make is I don't think we do anything new, anything outside of our comfort zone without feeling afraid, because we don't know what's going to happen. But when there's that underlying excitement and desire and that sort of urging to step into this, that's when we really know that it's a calling. And that's what this is for me.
And when you stepped into it, were you scared? Did it feel good right away? Because I want people to know, as they step into, sometimes even if it's the path of choice, as excited as you may be, it's so scary that it may not feel like it's going in the direction that you choose yet.
Oh, you're right about that. It's funny when you ask that question, I have not thought back to my first coach training before this moment. And I was afraid to speak up. I didn't want to get put on the hot seat. What if I say something wrong? I have to coach a peer. I don't know what I'm doing. It was there was a huge learning curve at first to simply allow myself to express myself in this way. And if I fall down or make a mistake, I'll be okay. And really, the coach training itself started to shift for me towards this movement around self-approval.
And allowing yourself to trust yourself, right?
Exactly.
Because sometimes we know, and then we get there and we're like, oh, what am I doing? Because everybody around you is questioning you because they don't see the vision that you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's very true. I had a lot of people, well-meaning people that I worked with that could not understand that I would just walk away. And there's a handful of people in my life who were extremely supportive. And it's really important that we have those people. And it's important that we have someone along the journey that we can share with what we're going through. So I have one of the women I was in my first coach training with. She and I still peer coach each other, and that's been since 2016. So you find your people along the way. But yeah, I don't think my family understands what I'm doing at all, and it's okay. It's really not for them to understand. So, yeah. I think sometimes when we go after what we're called to do, it can feel a little lonely for a while.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And we also find our tribe.
we
You know,
do.
there's sometimes, for me, one of the experiences that I've had is my family loves me, but they don't necessarily know me.
Hmm.
They don't know the true me, what are my dreams, the way that I think wasn't how I was raised to think. I was definitely that person that did things differently, and was asked, where did you come from? And I love that it's meant to be that way. We are meant to be, out there and living our lives, not everybody else's. So when we go outside of the lines, sometimes not everyone is comfortable with us going outside the lines.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that.
you know and
Absolutely.
and that's okay. And I say that because there's people that are listening, and you've always wanted to have a business, or if you've always thought about doing something in particular, to live that, it may seem scary. But I love the quote Wayne Dyer says is, don't die with the music still in you.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's so important, whatever is in you to do, that we stand up and do it.
Yeah, as you talk about that, I think about, you know, Don Miguel Ruiz talks about this in the Four Agreements, our domestication.
Yes.
We have this path, I think, put in front of us that we can take that looks good because people before us have taken it and people after us will take it. And yet it doesn't necessarily fit who we are and why we're here. And for me, I think that's been a lot of my own personal journey, is to let go of all of that, let go of what perhaps someone else or my family or society at large thinks I should be doing, and really tap in and trust myself to do what feels right to do.
And trusting yourself when you've never done that before can be a little scary, but it's invigorating and it's empowering.
Yeah.
And it's the beginning of, that's the cutting edge where growth really comes, and life begins to be exciting again in a way that it hasn't been. When you're going in the right direction, and when you're not. And when it feels like you're stuck and it's the same stuff different day, it's up to you to change it. You get that opportunity to choose again.
Yeah. We get an opportunity every moment to choose again.
Yes.
And I think that's the beauty of the adventure of this life that we're here to live, is we don't have to do anything that we don't really want to do. And we can step into the things that sound or feel delicious to us, even if other people don't understand it. I think one of the things that I really became clear of in my last coach training, in my certification program, we talked a lot about the difference between confidence and self-confidence.
Hmm.
And so I explain it this way. I'm really confident at making a good cup of coffee in the morning. I know how much coffee to put in the machine. I know how much water. I know how I like to froth my milk. And so that's wonderful. I'm really confident. If somebody wanted a cup of coffee, I would confidently make them one. But self-confidence is a little bit different. Self-confidence is trusting yourself to try those new things, to step out of your comfort zone, knowing that no matter what happens, you'll be okay. You will have your own back.
Hmm.
And that does take a deep practice in self-approval, because I have to be okay with falling on my face. I have to be okay with that thing I said that didn't come out, that came out sideways or whatever. And know that it's all okay. It's all just my expression of me. And I think the thing that's changed my life probably the most in the last, 5 or 10 years is the basic understanding that everything that's happening in my life is happening for me, not to me, for me, and through me. I'm the conduit for it all. And so whatever if I make a mistake, I can make a different choice. If I do something that felt really awkward, I can decide what I want to do with that. I don't have to sit in shame. And I think for a lot of my early life, I would just sit in shame about it.
And that's an important word too. I would love to bring up too, is the shame. There's a lot of us that were raised to be people pleasers. There are a lot of us that were raised exactly to, that someone else's opinion almost mattered more than mine did, because I was trying to be the perfectionist and make you happy, because if you were happy with me, then I could be happy with me. I didn't know the difference. I didn't know that it was okay to not be okay. We have our moments, and there's times that we go through life, and there's times it's not okay. And those are the catalysts of change.
Absolutely.
That's when we know that there needs to be growth, because we don't fit where we were anymore. And I love the midlife troublemaker. It really is. It comes to a point that we get to choose differently or again. And what does that look like?
Yeah, we get to disrupt the things about our lives that are no longer serving us, and we get to make a different choice. Talking about people pleasing and troublemaking, and for 2023, I set an intention for myself, which I usually do, and that is complete and unapologetic self-approval. I am in a place in my life where, I'm done with the people pleasing. I'm done second guessing myself. I'm done selling myself short, all of that stuff. And I no sooner set that intention, and the universe sent pneumonia as a teacher. So, and here's the practice. This is happening for me and through me. This is happening for me and through me. It sucks. I'm not gonna, I'm not sugarcoating that. This was not fun. I'm still recovering, and it's been a few weeks. But this took me on a healing journey to really allow myself to go inward and to listen to what was happening to my body. Louise Hay will tell you that lung issues are about holding on to grief. And I truly believe that. And so I had to get really clear with myself about what that grief was. And last year, I made a lot of intentional changes in my life. I sold my home, sold my possessions, bought an RV. I live on the road part-time. Big changes. And while I experienced some sadness going through that, I don't think I really allowed myself to grieve. And so I've spent some time with that, and really where I've come to with it is echoes of my childhood. So what I'm hearing and feeling and journaling about right now is this idea that because I elected those changes, I shouldn't feel sad. And that's not true. But that is my upbringing. That is part of how I learned to self-abandon as a child, right? I shouldn't feel this way. What's wrong with me? And so it's allowed me to see this pattern, which I would not have seen without this illness, this what I'm calling a healing adventure. But I wouldn't have seen this pattern otherwise. So this is here for me. And the more I rest, which takes a lot of surrender, right? Most of us are used to being busy, 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 busy. I've had to rest, deep and sacred rest. I've had to let other people care for me and take care of me. The complete opposite of my people-pleasing past, right? So it has been, for me, an incredible healing journey. As much as it has not been fun.
And it really comes down to, in a lot of ways, how we look at things shapes the things. So we get the opportunity. And I just want to mention we are live. So if anybody has any questions or comments, we would love to hear from you. If you're just tuning in, we are here with the wonderful coach, Elaine Blais, who is here. And we're talking about, self-approval, really being in that place of self-love and appreciating where we are with unapologetically. And I think that is so important that we understand that we get that choice. And I too am in that place sometimes that, that as much as your head may know, and then you're still in this place of, but shouldn't the should would coulds, shouldn't I have already, or shouldn't, and what about, and all of these things that come through because we have different parts of our lives that have expectations. Or even more so, we were raised with these expectations. And, when you were talking about feeling, not feeling well, for me, that was how I learned how to let people help me. Unfortunately, it was my experience with cancer. I had 2 major cancer operations, and that's how I didn't have a choice. I didn't have a choice. When you're in a coma and just coming out and we're learning to walk again, everybody's doing everything for you. And since then, I do everything I can to make sure that other people don't have to go through what I did. Because, I don't want you to learn self-approval or letting people help you through, an illness. I don't want you to have to get sick. I want you to know that you're worthy of it now. You can do it. You can do it consciously. And even with grief has been something I have consciously been working through. It's, yes, you experience it. Yes, there's things that go on, but I have consciously been working with and through grief at this point over 15 years. And we have a wonderful Doula for Grief show on Mondays on this network. New Thought Media Network has absolutely fabulous. And she's, and that's what it's all about. You get to this place that you need to know, you don't need to, but we get to be in a place of understanding new,
I think we get to choose to be, we get to choose how we look at whatever's happening within us. We get to choose how we want to see our lives. And we get to make a new choice every day if we want.
How do you help someone see? Because the whole thing is we need to understand that these things are happening. To change the patterns, because our patterns create our life. How do you help someone that doesn't see their patterns?
That's an interesting question. I don't know that we do. Well, maybe we do in a way, but I don't think we help someone see their pattern that isn't looking for help to see their pattern.
Oh, absolutely. If somebody comes to you and says, well, I don't know how I got here. And I know I want this, but I don't know how I got here.
Yeah. I for me, working with my clients, I think the biggest impact, at least initially with clients, is getting them to feel, to really start to connect with their body. Because I think culturally, we're not taught that our body is talking to us all the time. We're not taught that our emotions matter. Most of us are, or have learned to, and I would say that's true for me, have learned to dismiss our emotions because we were wrong to express them as children. I'll give you something to cry about. That was a familiar tune in my house. Yes. My parents, through no fault of their own, but they did not have the tools and the methods to manage their own emotions. So it was about shutting down mine. And that's what they learned. So I really think that that's been the biggest part of this journey for me. And that's the biggest part of the journey for most of my clients. And I work strictly with women. Not that it isn't important for men. I just focus on self-approval with women. We are so busy taking care of everyone else that we rarely stop to even notice that we have feelings.
Mm-hmm. And part of that self-approval is validating yourself enough to say it, to unapologetically say, this hurt me,
Yeah.
or I don't choose to do this again, or to choose who our friends are. When we find our tribe and we appreciate them and they appreciate us for the quirkiness that we may have, it's being in the place of power to say, this is who and where I spend my time.
Mm-hmm.
And on that note, I want to mention your Facebook page.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it. A Difficult Woman Collective. So people can reach out and go to your Facebook page, A Difficult Woman Collective. And what's there? What are they going to find there?
So in A Difficult Woman Collective, this is a really new project and adventure for me. It is a place for other midlife troublemakers, women who are looking to engage in conversation and find support around self-approval. And so for me, one of the things that I experienced last year in my own personal journey was recognizing how often as a child I tried not to be difficult, right? I wanted to be compliant. I wanted to be good. I wanted to avoid being punished or ridiculed. And I really thought a lot about how my being difficult is really someone else's perception of me or their projection of themselves towards me. And so I really thought about reclaiming. How do we reclaim the ways we're perceived as difficult and step into the power? Because here's the thing about self-approval. When you no longer need or seek the approval of others, you are completely free to follow your own path and to be yourself.
And there's a lot of people that don't know who they are.
I didn't for most of my life. So hooray.
I actually have been a life coach for over a decade, and that's the first thing that I always start with is, who are you? Who are you really? And there's a lot of people that don't know. And the second question for me is always, and what do you really want? And many people don't know.
Yeah, that's a question that I often ask my clients. And I think especially women, we've been so trained to focus on what everyone else needs that we dismiss our own, and we really don't know what we want. It takes some inquiry and some stillness and a lot of reflection often with clients to get to that place.
I've worked with people that literally didn't even know what their favorite food was anymore. They were moms, and everybody else had their choices of what they liked and what they didn't like. And it got to the point that they didn't even know what they liked anymore. Mm-hmm. They didn't even know, well, where would you like to go? What kind of movie would you like to watch?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They got so used to pleasing everyone and just trying to get everybody to be at a consensus. They didn't even put their vote in anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You are the star of your life. You're the lead character. And too many people, especially women, fall short of that. They forget that, or they were never taught it.
Yeah. Oh, I think that most of us, at least up until this point in time, really have not been taught that our needs matter, that we matter. And we do. We are no less important than anyone else. And we're here to live this life. What a gift.
We get to be here.
We get to be here. This is a gift. Yeah.
I learned that my sister transitioned at 37. And that's when I learned that I get to be here. I'm here. She didn't get that opportunity. I get to be here. So to me, it's like, I want to live twice as much. I want to really be in that place of doing and being. And in some ways, there's pressure there. and I've watched the wording of it. And in other ways, it's invigorating to not let things hold me back, But we have been trained as we grow up, and we hear things that are still in our subconscious. They may not be what we believe now. I was actually raised with one of those sayings I was raised with was children are to be seen and not heard. That would never be said today, never in a million years. And yet that's the type of thing that, the programming that we were given.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That it was wrong to pray for yourself.
Yeah.
It was, you were told that you were a horrible person, when the truth is, spirit in me as me is me. Like spirit is right here living and breathing through me. So, and when I'm well, spirit is well. I'm caring for spirit as I care for me. And, when we can, if we can really get that through to people, that, it's our duty to care for ourselves first, not just in the oxygen mask sense that then we can care. We can't care for anyone if we're not okay.
Yeah.
But beyond that, that's what we're here for.
Yeah. Yeah. I believe that we are social beings and we're here for one another. And I need to take care of me for you. Because if I'm not whole and well and living a joyful life, I'm not contributing to the greater good.
Absolutely. And I want to mention to people that they can reach you on ElaineBlais.com.
And Gina, I'm just going to make a note. It's ELAINEBLAIS.com. There's an E in there.
Missed that. I'm sorry about that. It's absolutely. So yes, it is with ElaineBlais.com. There we go.
That is it. Thank you.
Okay. So the next thing I want to talk about before, as time's flying by, I want us to talk about your class.
Thank you. Yeah, I have a new class. It is called an Introduction to the Art of Self-Approval. And this is not about fixing yourself because there's nothing broken. It is not about improving yourself because you are already an expression of divinity. So there's nothing to improve on. It is about changing our perception about ourselves. How do we see ourselves? How do we want to see ourselves? And, in the words of Louise Hay, you've been criticizing yourself all your life. Try approving of yourself and see what happens. And I really think that we have to be full of ourselves in order to be fully ourselves. And this introduction to the art of self-approval is 2 hours to begin to tap into that for yourself. We will celebrate you. We will do some inquiry into where perhaps you don't think you should celebrate yourself. And then there's a little process that you can take with you to practice the art of self-approval every day.
Wonderful.
And there's an in-person class coming up on Saturday, September 21st here in Rhode Island at Concordia Center for Spiritual Living. And there is a virtual class on Saturday, February 4th, open to anybody in the world.
Wonderful. That's the beauty of Zoom. You can be wherever you are, and you're right here. You're right next to me. It's wonderful. Absolutely. So there's a lot that's happening. And I'm excited for you. And you put out your second book.
I did. I am an international best-selling co-author of a book called Reclaiming Your Midlife Mojo. So myself and 23 other midlife women have shared their stories. The stories are just wonderful and heartfelt, and that's available on Amazon. And then my book is still out there, 3 Secrets to a Kick-Ass Life, also available on Amazon.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And I've been to a couple of your workshops, and they're wonderful. They're fun. They're practical. And, there's so much that comes out of it. So I encourage people to go to your website and check them out because, it is, it's such a gift that it's not only giving this gift to ourselves, but it gives the gift to the world. Who we are in the world is either limited or enhanced by, what we do for ourselves, how we treat ourselves, and how we are living our life. So if we are limiting ourselves, then it's not gonna, it's not gonna, when we look at limiting ourselves, we're not giving to the world. And right now, especially, the world needs us. The world needs our light. So what's up on the horizon in addition to this class? What else is it that you have going on right now?
Yeah, so I'm looking to expand a Difficult Woman Collective, which is the Facebook group. And I'm also working on a program that is focused on how to be a difficult woman in all the best ways, trust me. And of course, I'm available for one-on-one coaching with women who are interested in exploring self-approval for themselves.
And you mentioned actually Louise Hay a couple of times, and she's actually one of my favorites. Like she's part of what got me into this. Have you done a lot of work around her stuff as well?
Oh, absolutely. Mirror work and self-approval work. And yeah, she's the best.
So I encourage people as well that if they're looking for, well, where do I start? In addition to Elaine's book, I also encourage, she was definitely someone that I see as a great example. She is someone that later in life decided, well, she actually got cast aside. She got cast aside by her husband that, she loved and cared for, who decided to go for a younger woman. And she was kind of broken after a difficult life, and found Science of Mind and became a practitioner and eventually a minister, and eventually, best-selling author and owner of, started Hay House.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
But that wasn't until later in life.
Yeah. And I think that there are many, many, many inspirational stories out there like that. If you're willing to look for them, and Louise Hay is an amazing life. She was an amazing life.
And are there any spiritual practices in particular that you encourage?
Oh, my. Well, maybe all of them, but I think for me personally, so I have had a prayer partner that we meet at least once a week for the last 6 years, which is a very important part of my life now. I think when you find that person that you can really open up to, Thursday, this morning is our prayer morning. And, we haven't talked in a while because I've been ill. So we had an hour call this morning and really exploring what has been happening with me and where she is. And we just support each other in all the right ways. It's not about
no judgment
and no expectation, right? We're not setting our expectations on each other. We're really listening and holding each other in that heart space. And I'm a meditator. I've been meditating for years now. I don't even, it's funny, when my children were little, I would put them on the living room floor to play, and I would lay on the couch and just close my eyes, and I could hear them, but I wasn't quite in the room. And it took me a long time to realize I'd been meditating all that time. But I'm a meditator, spiritual reading just about every day. And I also work with practitioners. I think that they are a very important part of this philosophy. I've had practitioner calls while I've been ill. I've had practitioner calls when I'm well. Just having someone to mirror back to me what I'm feeling or saying and hearing and how that's playing out is incredibly powerful.
And I want to just clarify for people that may not know what that is. a spiritual practitioner, a licensed spiritual practitioner. We're all practitioners for ourselves. And this is Poe joining in today. This is Poe, everyone. She wants to say hello. So a licensed spiritual practitioner is someone that is, has gone through the process of this training through. For us, for me, it's Centers for Spiritual Living. But I know there's also practitioners in Unity. There's practitioners in some other New Thought as well. And it is a particular program that you're licensed to be able to help people know truth. Mm-hmm. So it works that the practitioner themselves is in the knowing. There's one mind. So whether I'm the inlet or the person that comes to me to speak about it is the inlet for divine, or the outlet for that matter, it doesn't matter. It's the knowing in the one mind. But the session themselves is what's, it is, like you said, it's speaking to someone that they're mirroring back to you. It's not about giving advice. It's not about someone telling you what to do. And it's very different from regular counseling in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I think so.
It's really just being in the moment and spiritually guided throughout the whole process. And it is anchored in prayer. And it is a beautiful process. So if you have questions about that, you can always reach out to me, or, you can look at, definitely it's worth looking into if you've never done it. And I'm going to put my information up there. You're welcome to Gina@cslboston.org. You're welcome to reach out to me. And I can give you more information, but you're right. It's a wonderful gift to give yourself.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And, it's a little spiritual CPR.
I love that. And it's amazing because sometimes it uncovers I would say more than half the time, people come with one thing in mind and it's something else that was the problem completely. Yeah. It is one of those patterns that was instilled in childhood, or it's been something underlying that's been there all along and we didn't realize it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And through, it is definitely spiritually led. So it comes out the way that it needs to. Something I've really been aware of is, which it amazes me, like, how did I not get this? The more time I allot for spirit to shine the light, the more light I get. So if I plan my day and I know that in the morning I have my time with spirit, and I plan an event that may be a meditation or an online Zoom, but it's a spiritual event or something, whenever throughout my day, if I have something spiritual planned, I am literally, to me, it's like opening the shade to spirit. I'm giving us a set time where I can let light in. Even a show like this, where we're talking about not just spirituality, but that better side, that greater part of you that is waiting to burst through. That's part of letting the light out. And that's part of why I love this background. We get the opportunity to let that light shine. And sometimes we need someone to help us to get there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're someone that helps people get there in amazing ways. And another thing that you use that I love is art. So if you could tell me about that. Tell me about your workshops and what you do around art.
Yeah. So every so often, I love to do a workshop that is simply about expressive art. And there is a lot of self-approval in that, because most of us tend to judge ourselves harshly as artists, right? Most people will, unless I know you as a professional artist, you're probably going to say, oh, I'm not good at that, or I don't know how to draw, or I don't. But here's the thing. Life is art. My life, your life is art. We have this canvas that we're painting on every single day. I remember somebody saying to me once that a former client, was adamant that she was not creative. And every time I saw her, she was so smartly dressed and coordinated. And I said, well, what is that? Right? This is how you express yourself. This is your art. This is creativity. You know, the way we put our homes together, how we dress ourselves, how we carry ourselves. All of that is a part of who we are. So I have done a couple of expressive art retreats, which is simply, or workshops, classes, which is simply an opportunity with some guidance from me as a coach to express yourself with some artistic medium. That's all it is. To feel, put your feelings on the page.
The smiles and the pictures, they are wonderful. It is, and it's such a, it's an invitation to freely just let it go.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't have to be perfect, and it's perfect.
Yeah, I'm, you know, what's perfect anyway? Who's the judge of perfect, right? So I have taken other people's expressive arts retreat, and I bring a little bit of that. Sometimes I bring it into a regular class. It depends on the class that I'm doing. But yeah, I love to play with paint and markers, and I mean that for me is fun. I don't consider myself, quote unquote, an artist by any stretch of the imagination, but I am creative.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really sometimes just 2 hours to play is one of the most beneficial workshops you can do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I've seen, like, they have the Friday night paint night, the paint with the paint and wine or something like that.
Oh,
They have
yeah.
all kinds of different things that they do. And you know, it's finding new ways to express yourself. And I am here on Finding the Joy in the Journey with Elaine Blais, who's an amazing coach. And we're talking about being absolutely unapologetically you, and to self-approval, self-acceptance, which is self-love. And if you have any questions or comments, we would love to hear from you, because we are live. And you know, I also wanted to mention in the beginning, as it is it's the beginning of January, I love that you use the word intentions. You know, as a coach, a lot of times it was all about goal setting. And I think there's a lot more people setting intentions these days than it is just about the goals.
Yeah, I have an aversion to goals now, my personal preference. I think goals are limited, and and a lot of people use goals. That's perfectly fine. But for me personally, I think that when we set goals, we tend to focus more on the end goal than the process. I think we focus more on the doing instead of who do I want to be as I navigate my week, my day, my month, my year. And so for me, setting intentions really sets the tone for how I want to show up. And that to me becomes a guiding principle for any goal that I might decide to pursue. So in this 2023 intention for me of complete and unapologetic self-approval, I kind of have to decide, what does that mean for me, first of all, right? Who am I? Who do I have to be that, right? To really approve of myself, am I people pleasing? Am I doing what's best for me in a way that doesn't hurt anyone else? I mean, certainly this is not meant to be done at anyone's expense, but it is in pursuit of my dreams, right? So yeah, I prefer to set intentions, and then if I have some particular goals I would like to meet for the year, that intention informs who I am and how I show up in meeting those goals.
And that's really the point of the show, is finding the joy now. It's not about a destination, goals. I love goals, and I think that they're they have their space, but they also include action steps. So it's not just about where you're going, it's about how, like you said, how you're getting there. But I also think it's important to remember you're not going to have a happy ending to an unhappy story. So it's about being in that place now and doing the best that you can to enjoy where you are, because you're never going to be here again. If you were climbing a mountain, the view is different every step of the way, and it's beautiful. Don't miss it.
Yeah. Here's the other thing about intentions for me is when I decide who I want to be, right? How do I want to show up? The only time and place that I can take action around that is in the present moment. So once I've got my intention, now that guides this moment.
Yes.
It guides whether I say yes or no to a podcast interview or a radio show interview. It guides whether I say yes or no to a client, even a potential client. Is that person who I want to work with? Am I the right fit for them? And I can say early in my coaching career, I thought I had to coach everybody, right? And I think that's true with most coaches, right? I've got a coach, I need to make money. And there is a part of that that is valid because we learn who we are as a coach. But I'm in a place where that self-approval is the guiding principle for me around accepting a client. Do I want to work with them? Are they in a place where they're ready and willing to actually do the work? And recognizing that I don't have to work with everybody. And that's okay. Not everybody is not for me, and I am not for everyone.
And that's important to know that, and that's okay. I love that, even on a job interview, it's the same way. When any job interview that I'd been on in the past 15 years, my biggest thing was, do I want to work here? Do I want to work with these people every day? And, that's to me, we want to look at that as far as, if you're not happy where you are, then it's up to you to change that. Now, it's important, geographical cures aren't the answer. So we want to remember that as well. What am I unhappy about? If it's a particular person, is it worth changing my whole world over that? Or is it, I really don't like it here? Wherever here is, then what do I do now? Everything, if my intention is joy, then what is taking away from that? Where am I losing? Where am I not experiencing that? And really looking at that in a self-appraisal. And I think coaches and practitioners, ministers, whatever it may be that helps you, even counselors, whatever helps you to honestly answer those questions is going to help you on a path to a greater life.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love what you said about, where am I not experiencing joy? Because that's in my control. The situation may not be, but denying myself the joy that I want in my life, that is up to me. It is up to me to give myself what it is I want.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's, we get to do this. We get to know these things. And I appreciate you bringing all of these things to think about and everything forward. And I want to mention again, this is your website that has your contact information. It also has the information about, people can find out about your class. And it is Saturday, January 21st. And that's in person in Rhode Island. And then on February 4th, it's going to be, again, Saturday, February 4th, via Zoom. So that can be anywhere in the world.
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
An introduction to the art of self-approval. And I know it's going to be absolutely wonderful. So I do encourage people to reach out to you. and we're running out of time, so I always go so fast. I wanted to just, is there anything in closing that you'd like to share? Whether
Oh
it's
my
for the
goodness.
new year or about intentions, whatever it is, anything that you'd like to share with our listeners.
Yeah, I think I would just go right back to Louise Hay. You know, I approve of myself. I think that those three little words are some of the most powerful words I've ever incorporated into my life. And that stuff works. You know, reprogramming your brain to believe in yourself, to trust yourself is incredibly powerful. And we all have the ability to do it if we choose. If we choose.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I thank you for being here, and thank you for bringing this important message and reminding us all that we get to choose. We get to choose. And, you know, it's not selfish. Self-care is imperative. And, you know, and we're not terminally human in the sense that everybody else feels this way too. So thank you for these reminders. And I want to mention that to people that they can reach out to me, whether it be on Facebook or here's my email address. You can feel free to reach out to me. And I'd love to hear comments or suggestions or anything at all. I'd love to hear from you. And thank you for being here with me, Elaine. And thank you for watching everyone on this beautiful network where we are, you know, blessed to be. You know that New Thought Media Network has so many different shows. We have prayer time at 8:15 a.m. and p.m. Mountain Time every day, 7 days a week. So know that there are people here to pray for you and know truth with you. You know, so much good here. Just, you know, again, see us. It's NT Media, ntmedia.org, and you can see all that's coming up and all the past shows as well. So I'm looking forward to hearing more from you, Elaine, and I'm looking forward to hearing more from all of those out there watching. And the last thing I want to mention is I do have a class coming up, Practical Mysticism. It's a 10-week class, and I would love for you to join us. It's going to be fun. It's going to be wonderful. Awaken your inner mystic. And again, it's a 10-week class, Practical Mysticism. And it's going to get started at the end of the month on Wednesday nights. So if you're interested, again, just reach out to me. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on my email. I'd love to hear from you. Well, thank you for being here. And I wish you all just so much love, so much joy. And until we meet again, until next week, remember that the joy is in the journey, and it is up to you to bring it forward. Blessings and love. Namaste.
On behalf of everyone at New Thought Media Network, thank you for being a member of our virtual family. Your financial contributions help share the New Thought message with people from around the world. Please visit and contribute at www.ntmedia.org/donate. New Thought Media Network. Come be you.